My senior year of high school, I published an article about rape culture, and the article contained basically stories of 3 rape survivors and then a few official sources, and the story got published in February, and then a month later in March, after I guess my superintendent finally got around to reading the high school publication, he decided that they needed to put in a policy of prior review. He basically casually tells us that, yeah, by the way, like, everything you do now has to be overseen by me. Everyone in the room was furious. Every single journalism, like introductory journalism class at my high school, you start off by learning about free speech cases. So we already were really familiar with Tinker, we were familiar with Hazelwood, we knew exactly what was happening to us. And everyone was furious, and I remember just asking really snarky questions and just, I don't know, causing a scene, but the initial reaction was just very angry. The entire staff just went on a Twitter rampage, and so I mean the news spread very quickly, and by the end of the day I'd already drafted a letter to the superintendent and sent it to him and made it public. Members of the school board selected representatives from the English department as well as my journalism teacher, a few student journalists, and we just had this huge meeting about we need to put in a set in stone policy for a publication policy. And basically the whole policy was about what we are allowed to do with our rights as journalists, and how the school shouldn't have that authority to have prior review. I mean, obviously fight it, fight the censorship. I guess my advice would be to understand that journalism isn't propaganda, and that I feel like every journalist or even writer in general has somewhat of an obligation to tell stories in an artistic, eloquent way, and I guess really not let anyone impede on that creative process. The whole idea of speaking up or breaking the rules is not necessarily qualities that we attach to women. So I think it's very important that women in our society know that they have as much of a right to speak up against authority, and just as much of a prerogative to speak out when their rights are being infringed upon. If active voice had existed during my situation, I mean, it would just be really comforting to know that there were other women journalists out there who experienced what I experienced but also overcame that. What Active Voice tries to do is have basically a support system for women in journalism, so that they don't necessarily be afraid to voice their concerns or speak up about things that are happening to them in their fields.